Hello, welcome back to the Long Suffering channel. This is Jeff. This week's video is going to be primarily about the Rangers and Jets, but just want to quickly touch on the Mets as their pursuit of Juan Soto has begun. By all accounts, the Mets hierarchy are in California to meet with Soto and his agent, Scott Boras. I normally am not a fan of one of these blank check type contracts. These massive monster deals are very hard to live up to, and in many cases, the player ends up collapsing under the weight of the expectations of the contract. But in this case, I think they should give Soto whatever he wants. Baseball doesn't have a hard salary cap, and Steve Cohen, the Mets owner, has shown that he's willing to blow by the luxury tax threshold to improve the talent on this team. I think Soto is exactly what this lineup needs. The Mets have a lineup filled with right-handed slugging type, all or nothing type of hitters. Alonso, Alvarez, Vientos. These guys, they try to hit 500-foot home runs every time they're up, and they try to pull everything. I know Vientos. I shouldn't include Vientos in that. He's been good with going up the middle, the opposite field. But Vientos will still swing at a slider 5 feet off the plate because their plate discipline is not very good. And my fear with Vientos is that they're going to go to school on him in the offseason and pitch him differently. Excuse me. Soto is a hitter. He's not a slugger. He's a hitter. He hits the ball where it's pitched. He hits the lefties very well. He's got a great eye at the plate, great plate discipline. The guy is a fantastic, fantastic hitter. Somebody that you can plug as your third guy in the lineup, maybe number two, however. And he's someone I really hope the Mets sign because I think he is exactly. I know he defensively might not be the greatest outfielder, but you can live with the occasional defensive mistake because he's so good offensively. So I hope Uncle Stevie gives him what he wants, and that they're having the press conference at Citi Field with Soto's putting on the Mets jersey, with Carlos Mendoza on this side and Steve Cohen on that side, and his family and the agent, the whole thing. I hope that they sign him. Now we're going to jump to the Rangers. The last video I made was before the game against Buffalo, where I was sounding the alarm bells about how porous this team has been playing, and they ended up getting demolished by Buffalo. Final score was 6-1, I believe. Igor Shesterkin was not good. The team in front of him wasn't good either, but he was not good. He was eventually pulled, and Jonathan Quick came in, and Quick proceeded to steal a victory the next game in Detroit. Final score that was 4-0. Final score was very deceiving. Detroit had the puck for most of the game. The Rangers again looked lifeless, listless, lethargic, indifferent, apathetic. You can fill in with any description that you want. This team continues to play with no emotion, no gumption, no urgency. They're just going through the motions like they have throughout the last few years with this core, waiting for a great player to do something great, expecting the goalie to keep him in the game, and then they find a way to skate off with a victory. Last night's game against Winnipeg was one of those measuring stick games. Winnipeg is setting all kinds of NHL records. They had won 14 of the first 15 games going into last night. I thought the Rangers were going to win because that type of streak, 14-1, is just not sustainable. Eventually, they're going to cool off, and eventually there will be a correction in their record because you can only win so many games in this paradised NHL. And I don't think Winnipeg played good. I don't think the Rangers played badly necessarily. But Mika Zibanejad, who has completely fallen off a cliff, had 3 horrendous turnovers that led directly to Winnipeg goals. Igor, again, wasn't that good. Some of the goals he had no chance on, but that Kyle Connor goal, he needs to stop. If he wants to be making $12, $13 million a year, that's a goal he cannot let up. And the irony is that the guy across the ice from him, Connor Hellebuck, who is arguably the best goalie in the NHL, signed for $8.5 million AAV. And you're going to tell me Igor's $4 to $5 million better than him? Sorry, I'm not buying that. I never have bought it. I think Igor's salary demands are ridiculous. They're absurd, egotistical. The NHL is a hard cap league. You cannot go over the salary cap during the season at any point for any reason. And there's a reason why you never see goalies drafted in the first round, or very rarely anyway. There's a reason why you never see goalies among the highest paid players in the league. It's just not, the market just doesn't bear it for a goaltender. Goaltender's only going to play, 55 to 60 games if you're lucky. And to pay Shesterkin 25% more than someone like Hellebuck, it's bad team management. If Drury gives in to him and gives him his $12 million plus, it's bad on Drury. Yes, Igor has the right to try to make as much as he wants, but Drury cannot give in to him. He can't. And these games where Igor is not saving them is proof that when you make your goalie your highest paid player, it's next to impossible to build a cup winning team. It's not impossible, but you have to have resources outside of your goalie crease. We lived this with Ranger fans with Henrik Lundqvist. For over a decade, he was our best player. Team made it to 1 finals, no cups. They can't make that same mistake again. And if Igor is dead set against accepting anything less than $12 million, you're going to have to let him walk. And let some other team give him what he wants, because obviously winning is not his priority. Making as much money as possible is his priority. And I don't want a guy on my team who's a mercenary. I want guys on my team who are dogged and just will do anything to win. They don't care about money. They don't care about accolades. They don't care about stats. They just want to win. So Igor, go play with the Anaheim Ducks. Go play with the Columbus Blue Jackets if 12 to 13 million is what you want. Now about the Jets, I feel like it's the epitome of the Groundhog Day movie with the Jets. It's the same thing every week. Going into the game Sunday against Arizona, some Jet fans were riding high. They were giddy. They thought that the victory against Houston the previous week was going to be the beginning of something special. They finally found it. They clicked on offense. The defense played well. I didn't believe that for a second. I thought they had no chance to beat the Cardinals, mainly because Arizona runs the ball very well, and the Jets can't stop the run. So I did not believe for a second that the Jets were going to win that game. And not only didn't they win, they didn't even show up. They just got their doors blown down. It was worse than opening night in San Francisco. It was as bad as it gets. It was rock bottom bad. They missed 20 tackles on defense. It looked like Zach Wilson was playing quarterback again. Guys are dropping passes. I love Breece Hall. I think he's a fantastic player, but has he ever broken a tackle? As soon as he gets hit, he goes right down. And he's a big, strong guy. He's not like a 170-pound weakling. He's over 200 pounds of solid muscle. As soon as he gets hit, he goes right down. There's problems with this team that no one person can fix. There needs to be a complete and total rebuild. This needs to be torn down to the ground. And then you cut everybody, you trade everybody, you take the dead cap hits for the next year or two. But you need to start with new leadership. You need to bring in, obviously, a new GM. He's going to hire his own coach. And I don't see Aaron Rodgers sticking around, because do you really think at this stage of his career Aaron Rodgers is going to have to learn a whole new offense? He's the most stubborn, by all accounts, he's the most stubborn, egotistical, self-grandizing person you're ever going to meet. And at the age of 41, do you really think he's going to have to sit down and learn a whole new offense? I don't think so. He'll either retire or ask to be released or ask to be traded. Either way, he's gone. The experiment failed. They tried. Didn't work. You move on. Some people are suggesting maybe you bring Rex Ryan back to coach. As much as I love Rex, I think that would be the wrong decision. The time to hire Rex would have been after Adam Gase was fired. But the Jets need to bring in a head coach that has an offensive background, because other than Adam Gase, every single coach they've had, going back to Bill Parcells, had a defensive background. Every single one of them. And the Jets offensively have fallen behind the times in a league where all the rules are slanted to the offense. This Jet offense, through all these years and all these coaches, all these offensive coordinators, they don't move the ball with any consistency. They don't score touchdowns with consistency. You have to bring in one of these offensive-minded coaches who also will be a disciplinarian. No more of Sauce Gardner going to Twitter to start fights with people. No more of what's been going on with fights and Michael Clemens going after that. I forgot that player on the Buffalo Bills, but this team is immature. They're undisciplined, and Robert Saleh never did anything about it, and Jeff Ulbrich isn't doing anything about it. The entire thing needs to be stripped completely. I hate to use this term, but blow it all up. Tear it all down. Start fresh. And I would trade Quinnen Williams, because you can get premium draft picks. I would trade Sauce. You can get premium draft picks. Garrett Wilson, I would sign long term, because Garrett Wilson is somebody that cares, and he plays his heart out every week. Brees, again, he's an electric player, but man, he needs to toughen up a bit mentally. I mean, he needs to break tackles. How many touchdowns would he have had if he's able to break tackles? Start over with lots of premium draft picks. You take the dead salary cap hits for the next couple of years, and then when the time is right, you start filling out the roster with quality free agents. But as of now, this Aaron Rodgers experiment has failed. I don't get angry when I watch the games. I know a lot of these Jets YouTubers and podcasters come on after the game and scream and yell. I don't get mad anymore. You expect it. I never for a second thought they were beating the Cardinals, and I'm certainly not gonna let myself get angry about it. The anger is gone, and I know I used this analogy in a previous video, but it's like when you've had your heart broken, and you're just crying, and you've never cried so much in your life. Eventually, you just out of tears, and that's where I am with this incarnation of this Jets team. I'm out of tears. I'm out of anger. And they will turn it around. Every team figures it out eventually. It took Chicago Cubs 108 years to figure it out. Boston Red Sox, 86 years. I think Chicago White Sox, 88 years? Every team eventually figures it out. And the Jets will figure it out. They will eventually bring in the right people to build the right team with the right players. I do believe that. As much as Woody Johnson gets criticized, and rightfully so, he's always been willing to spend whatever he needs to spend to acquire as much talent as possible. Mike Tannenbaum, who worked for him for many, many years, said that publicly, that if something would help the team win, Woody would spend whatever he needed to spend. And that's all I really want from my owner. Regardless of the team, spend whatever you need to spend to help the team win. So we'll take another couple of years as we go through yet another rebuild. Hopefully they draft a quarterback and develop him. But it's the same thing every week with the Jets, every single week. Everybody that makes videos, podcasts, we all say the same things every single week. So that's why you can try to bring this back and hope they figure it out next year, because they won't. They've had their chance. They have to try it another way. There's still 7 more games this season, and now we're back in this position where I don't want to root against my team, but I know how important the draft is for an NFL team, and what good is it to finish 7-10 again and draft 15th when you can finish 5-12 and draft 6th? So now do I root for them to win? I hate rooting for them to lose, but now if they win, they're not gonna get a premium draft pick, and so it's always tough to sit there and watch when you want the better draft pick, but you also want your team to win and look good and all that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Another lost season for the Jets. The Rangers are going in a very bad direction. I've been sounding the alarm bells for a few weeks now. Something has to be done to address the plethora of problems that this franchise has, starting with Mika Zibanejad, Keandre Miller, Jacob Trouba. Again, just like with the Jets, the same players, right? We talk about the same players, the same mistakes. Nothing ever seems to get done about it. All right, so that's our video for this week. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk again soon.